What's happening, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. I am Dial here with a classic movie review. Before I begin, I just want to let you guys know that I've been feeling a bit under the weather the past couple of days, so if you hear my voice being raspier than usual, that's probably why. But no matter, I'm still gonna press through these reviews the best way I can. So yeah, I just want to put that little disclaimer up there. But anyway, the new Wonka film is supposed to be coming out this weekend, so I wanted to go back and talk about the previous two Willy Wonka films. First of all, we're going to talk about the original called Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory that came out in 1971. Let's get into it. So, when it comes to Willy Wonka, I feel like Willy Wonka has been more in the pop culture when I was younger, probably like in the early 2000s. I've heard Willy Wonka talked about way more than he is now, and mainly it's because of his candy and his chocolate. Because back in the day, there actually was Willy Wonka candy being sold and being shown on commercials. And nowadays, it just seems like, I don't know, Wonka, I guess, kind of went out of business for some reason. For me, I've always liked Willy Wonka's candy. Of course, they're the ones that help create like the Nerds and the Nerds rope, which is still around today. But as far as the chocolate, I barely see the chocolate nowadays. I don't know what happened to them. But of course, all this stuff wouldn't have been possible without this movie that came out in 1971, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Now, I'm aware that this is based off of the original book called Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, but of course, this movie took a lot of liberties with that. At the time, I didn't even know about the book. I didn't really care about, how faithful it was to the book because, I saw this when I was really, really little. Obviously, this came out before I was born, but of course, I saw reruns on cable. And when it comes to Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, growing up, this is one of my favorite films that I used to watch as a kid. Um, this was on constant rotation for me. I had such a good time watching this, and even watching this today as an adult, I find such enjoyment with this film. I really, really love this movie. Actually, surprisingly enough, this is actually one of my favorite films of all time. No joke. This is on my list of one of my favorite films. Um, it's a very similar feeling that I felt watching The Wizard of Oz for the first time. Like the Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory is such an imaginative film for me. It's so creative. It's so joyous. It has like that childlike wonder that I always like to see in films. You know, it's a film that really unlocks your imagination. Because the world that movie created is just so imaginative. It's so creative. It's so colorful. It's so whimsical. And I just had a really good time watching this film. But not only that, this movie is very creative, it has a lot of heart as well. We follow this little boy named Charlie, and who is a struggling little boy that isn't very wealthy. He's actually pretty poor, and he's living with his mother and his four grandparents who are very sickly and was in bed, and like he's struggling to bring money to so they'll be able to eat and stuff like that. So already you're immediately invested in Charlie's journey as the main protagonist. And of course, the whole premise is that Willy Wonka, he's the big chocolate and candy creator of the town, locked his factory away for years because people were trying to go into his factory and steal his ideas for candy for other companies and stuff like that. So he decided to shut it down. But out of nowhere, he announces that he's going to reopen the factory and let five kids come in and see how he creates his candy and chocolate. And the way that they choose the five children is that they're going to put five golden tickets in random chocolate bars around the world. So if you find a golden ticket in a chocolate bar, you end up being one of the participants being able to go into Willy Wonka's factory. And it, I thought that was a very, very interesting premise. And apparently, um, there's this whole thing that Willy Wonka is going to give the factory to one of the kids as well, after he retires and stuff like that. He gets an endless supply of chocolate and all that stuff. So, of course, that gives people even more incentive to find this ticket. But yeah, already you're invested in Charlie getting one of the tickets because this could possibly change the course of his life, so he doesn't have to struggle anymore. Well, with him and his family. So already I'm immediately invested in him getting the ticket and him going to the factory. So I thought all of that was really great. Grandpa Joe as well. I guess that's like the main grandparent that we follow in the movie. I thought he was really good as well. I really felt for him as well because for the start of the film, you see that he's very sickly. He doesn't get out of the bed, just like his other grandparents. But when he finds out that Charlie gets one of the tickets, it makes him more lively, and then he ends up going to the factory with him. So it's such a a heartwarming film. I just love how joyous and positive this movie is. It's such a feel good movie. I just love it. Um, as far as the other kids that get to go to the factory, that's a whole different story. There's Violet, who there's this little girl that likes to chew on gum a lot, and she's trying to break the record of how long she could chew gum, which I think is really, really gross. And then you have Veruca, who is this spoiled little girl that's rich and like demands to get everything she wants whenever she wants it, and the dad is just giving it to everything that she wants. And then you have Augustus Gloop, who is this little boy that likes to eat a lot of stuff. That's all he does. He likes to eat. That's all he does. He's a fat little boy. And then there's Mike TV, who likes watching TV, and I guess he wants to be a actor or a movie star or something like that. I guess that's his gimmick. But all four of those kids are really annoying, very unlikable, but of course that's by design because Charlie is the wholesome one of the group, and so it's pretty much telegraphed that Charlie's going to be the one that ends up being the one that deserves owning that chocolate factory because he's not selfish, he's not arrogant, he's not spoiled, he's not mean, just like the other kids. And so when you eventually see how all the other kids get their comeuppance when they are breaking the rules in the factory, it's like it makes it more that you want to see them actually you know get booted out of the factory faster because of how annoying they are. So um, I didn't like the other kids, but they did serve their purpose in the story. And once again, I was rooting for bad stuff to happen to them. It's really bad for me to say that, but all those kids are not good kids at all, and the parents should be ashamed of themselves. But of course, we got to talk about the man himself, the late Gene Wilder playing Willy Wonka. Now, this is a character that I feel is iconic, probably one of the most iconic characters in film. And I feel this because Gene Wilder has brought so much to that character. A lot of himself he put into Willy Wonka, and I think it worked really, really well. Once again, I don't know how the character is from the books, but honestly, if Gene Wilder took liberties from the books, I think that's the best decision he could have made for it. Because Willy Wonka as a character is so charismatic and so interesting and so funny and so witty and so unpredictable. Like that's what I just love about his character. You don't know what he's going to do next. It's like he's just full of life and creativity and imagination. And at the same time, there's you can feel there's something in him that's a little bit mad and insane, and that just what makes him more unpredictable. And I love that about him. I don't know. Yeah, for me, he is probably one of the most iconic characters in film. I really, really loved his portrayal of Willy Wonka, and it made it even harder for other actors to fill in his shoes. Because we did eventually get Johnny Depp, and then we're going to see how Timothy Chalamet does in this new film. But it's going to be really hard to live up to the performance that Gene Wilder has done. I feel like this movie wouldn't have worked as well if his version of Willy Wonka didn't work so well in the movie. I just really loved Willy Wonka in this film. And also the Oompa Loompas. I thought the Oompa Loompas were really funny. I thought they were a good addition to, Willy Wonka's chocolate factory. And of course, that these are characters you see in commercials when they used to promote the chocolate and stuff like that. And they become iconic characters as well, pretty much in the pop culture and stuff like that. Um, and before there's this whole controversy of how little people are portrayed in film. Like we never looked, we never looked too closely at that back in the day because the little people fit perfectly in those roles. Yeah, I thought the Oompa Loompas were great, and of course they had their iconic songs Oompa Loompa Doopa Dee Doo. We all heard that, and I thought that was great. I love how every time they go into song, they're throwing shade at the other bad kids and how they weren't raised properly and how the parents should have done better. So not only were they catchy songs, but there actually was a message there. So I really really liked that. Um, Now, of course, like one of the more interesting things, not only Willy Wonka, not only the Oompa Loompas, but the chocolate factory itself. I really, really like the Chocolate Factory. Like, it is such a creative, imaginative place. I liked, each part of the Chocolate Factory they go into, there's always something weird or something distinct going on. Like, there's creative environments like the chocolate waterfall area where all the plants and stuff were edible. They have a boat to get to the other part of the factory. They have the room where the giant geese are creating big gold chocolate eggs. I thought that was pretty cool. And then seeing all the other inventions, like how they created the gum, that's a full course meal. They go on that machine that creates a lot of bubbles and stuff like that. I just love how wacky and weird the factory is. It's just so creative. I haven't seen this much creativity since something like The Wizard of Oz. But yeah, I just love how creative the factory is. And it almost serves as like a fun house, because like there's even times where it seems like Willy Wonka doesn't even know how to get through his own factory. So I once again it just serves to how unpredictable Willy Wonka is. And it's just he's the only one that knows what's going on. One other thing the other subplot that was going on in the film is that there is a supposed other company that was trying to get the other kids to steal one of Wonka's candy inventions and bring it to another company so they'll get a lot of money. So I like that there's a little bit of a side conflict there, conflicts of interests where it's really testing Charlie to see if he's actually worthy to take over the chocolate factory. Like, is he somebody that's going to backstab Willy Wonka at the end for his own selfish needs? And obviously, he doesn't end up doing that. So I loved how this movie's actually really smart as well. It's just like how it's able to interweave those different subplots together and like just on top of the creativity with the chocolate factory, on top of the crazy stuff with the Oompa Loompas and Willy Wonka himself, and how the other kids play into that. I just really love how they did everything. It's just such a fun movie. Even the songs are pretty good. I guess if I could nitpick something, I guess the movie didn't really need to be a musical. I felt like some of the songs were kind of forced in there. Like, I mean, the Candyman song that was kind of nice, but it didn't really need to be there. And then there was a couple of songs that Grandpa Joe sings that, I mean, it was nice, but once again, didn't need to be there. I think the only songs that really needed to be there was the Oompa Loompa song and, oh, of course, Willy Wonka's song. Come with me, and you'll be in a world of pure imagination. That's another song that you hear a lot in the pop culture. Once again, very iconic. Loved that song. But honestly, yeah, the Oompa Loompa song and that Pure Imagination, that's probably the only songs that really needed to be there. I didn't think the other characters really needed to sing, but it didn't really like hurt the movie at all with the other songs. I thought the other songs were fine. I think Charlie's mother has a song in there as well, but But yeah, I just thought it didn't really need to be a musical. It could have just had a couple songs to be done with it. But once again, it didn't bother. It didn't ruin my enjoyment of the film. So yeah, overall, I thought this movie was a lot of fun. I thought it was very, very creative. I love the, how well realized the chocolate factory is, like how much of a fun house it is. There's different types of rooms and creativity and weird stuff going on. I thought that was all really good. Um, Gene Wilder as Willy Wonka, once again, such an iconic character. I loved him. I thought the Oompa Loompas were really good as well. I thought Charlie was really good at protagonist. I thought he was very heartwarming and charming, along with Grandpa Joe. The other kids, really annoying, didn't care about them at all. But once again, I think that was done on purpose, so you'll care about Charlie a lot more. Um, and yeah, I thought the songs were pretty good. Once again, the only songs I really needed was Willy Wonka's song and the Oompa Loompa song. Everything else I didn't really need, but the songs were fine. But yeah, I just really thought this movie was a lot of fun. Of course, since this was made in the '70s, there's some stuff in here that probably wouldn't have been made today. Like there's some tobacco smoking, or they talk about tobacco smoking in this. Um, there's some dated stuff like that that probably would have pulled today. But once again, they don't like focus on that too much. And also, there's some like weird, scary imagery in here too. Like especially when they go down the tunnel with the boat. That was probably the most jarring thing about it. Um, Once again, I think that was kind of cool at the same time. Just like because you just don't know what Willy Wonka's going to do. So it's like I see, watching it today, there's some weird stuff like that. They probably wouldn't hold up for other people, but for me, I just think that's all part of the fun. So yeah, I'm going to give Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. I'm going to give it a solid A. I love this movie. I feel like this is a film I can watch all the time. It's such a wholesome, feel-good movie with some weird stuff going on and weird zany stuff, and I absolutely love it. But yeah, those are my thoughts on Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. What did you guys think about it? Did you guys love it? Did you guys hate it? Did you guys think it was okay? Comment your thoughts down below and let me know. With Wonka coming out this weekend, I really hope it gives them more incentive to re-release Wonka's chocolate bars and other candy stuff, because I'm serious. I think Wonka had some of the most, creative candy and chocolate. It's such a shame that, they're not releasing as much anymore other than the nerds and the nerds ropes. So I'm hoping if Wonka is successful that we'll start to see more of the Wonka chocolate bars in stores again. I would love to see that. So the next film I will be talking about is Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. So tune in for that when it comes out. But if you guys enjoyed this review, please don't forget to leave a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. And don't forget to hit the bell if you want to be notified on future videos I'll be doing. But that's all I have for you Willy Wonka fans, and I will see you guys next time. Talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.